Oh my goodness, it's Jeff. Look at this guy. Look at this happy little shark. This is excellent. Okay, guys, every time there's a patch in Marvel Snap, I would say majority of patches, there ends up being a wave of datamine cards. Now, sometimes they get thrown right into the game client and they show up as little silhouettes when you filter by quality and unowned, which is great. We get to check them out. Their abilities can still change. It's not guaranteed that they're going to stay the way they are, even if they're in the game client already. We've seen many changes before. For instance, Dazzler used to give +8 if your entire board was filled, and then they changed it for some reason to +6. So these cards, you got to take with a grain of salt because they can change before launch. But on top of that, we also get data mines from various resources like Snap.fan and MarvelSnapZone.com. Definitely check them out. I appreciate them. Shout out to them for these data mine cards, but we get sneak previews before they even hit the client to see what these cards are, and we got a few new ones with the latest patch. And Jeff is one of them. Oh my goodness. First thing I gotta say, shout out to Toby, who once submitted a custom card to the Berryverse channel during one of our challenges, and he ended up winning and he got featured in a video, and it was Jeff. It was the first time I've ever seen Jeff as a card or a Marvel character in general, and I didn't even know it was a character, but so it is. And he had the exact same text art and a very similar picture. He might even had this variant. It was unreal. Now the effect and the stat line were drastically different, but still, like, that's pretty impressive to hit it on the head like that. And you know, probably the text art is like already used in some other source, I'm sure. But anyways, we take what we can with the custom cards and we make awesome custom cards. And Toby killed it, and Jeff might be coming to Snap, maybe. Now his current edition right now is a 2/3. Nothing can stop you from playing this anywhere. So first of all, I was thinking you can play him with Professor X. So even though X locks down a location, I'm pretty sure with Jeff's text, he could jump in there no matter what. He's like the only card that could get in here. Normally cards can't even be added or anything like that, but I have a feeling Jeff would overwrite that mechanic and be able to be played at Professor X's location. That one, maybe not. But then let's also think about Spider-Man. Normally you can't play cards there, right? Because he webbed the location. Well, now you can, so deny the Spidey webs. And then Storm even as well. When she floods a location, the cards can't be played there anymore. Well, Jeff loves a flooded location. That's like his home base. He'll jump in there no problem. Another one is like Sanctum Sanctorum as a location, right? So he can be played at all these crazy locations without those restrictions, which is really, really fun. Now, one member in the Berryverse Discord mentioned, Peanut Butter, I believe it was, that because it says anywhere, does this mean you can play on your opponent's side of the board? Can you give them a Jeff and fill a spot on their side of the board? It doesn't say your side or here on your side of the board, anything like that. It says anywhere. I mean, if I was to understand like just basic mechanics and balance, I feel like it's only on your side of the board, and what they're getting at, the way they're wording it is just to really emphasize that those locations that say you can't play cards, well, Jeff can be played there, right? On your side. But it would be crazy if that was, it would be a 5-star card if you could play him anywhere, like literally on your opponent's side. That would be absolutely insane. But the way he is, I'm giving him 2 stars just because I don't know if you end up really playing this. I mean, maybe in a control deck, I have this right here, which just really is kind of emphasizing the Storm and the Professor X to set up those control-y locations that maybe you end up losing power, but then you can play Jeff there to kind of give a quick swing maybe later on turn 5 or 6 or something like that. So that was the idea there. But for the most part, I feel like it's not all that great. It doesn't synergize with anything. It doesn't have an ongoing tag on reveal. Destroying it doesn't do anything. Bouncing it to your hand doesn't even do it. You don't want to play it multiple times. So like, there's not a whole lot going for Jeff, but it's super cute, dude. This takes the crown for cutest card in the game if it does end up landing into Snap. So I'm pretty fired up about it. But we got another one. Master Mold. Now, this was actually data mined for quite a long time, but I omitted from talking about it because it didn't have full art, and the stat line was, I don't think it was always a 2/2. But anyways, now it seems like it's going to become the game. In fact, it seems like it might be in the March pass or something like that. We got a bit of a sneak preview to that. So it seems like there's going to be something with Nimrod, Kitty Pryde, Master Mold, a little bit of an X-Men theme going on there. Pretty cool. I'm here for it. So Master Mold, though, is a 2/2 on reveal. Add 2 Sentinels to your opponent's hand. Dude, I got concerns when it comes to this card. I think this is going to be like just a really toxic card. Like, people are going to get so triggered by it because a Sentinel, if you're not aware, when you play a Sentinel, another copy goes to your hand, right? Not even a copy, it's just another Sentinel. It's a 2/3. So even if you got whipped with Scorpion, it will still be a 2/3 that jumps back to your hand. But the problem is that you can never actually get rid of those cards. Like, you're always clogging up your hand. You know, it's great usually for people that want to play that, like Devil Dinosaur decks. You know, you got to watch out and play Master Mold against a dinosaur deck, then that's not so great, right? But overall, I feel like this is going to brick people's hands. If you can trigger this twice on like Wong or something, you give them 4 Sentinels, there's no shot they can ever play enough to draw enough. Like, it's going to be so nasty. You also pair this with Ronin. Ooh, that's awesome. Like, the power, that's a great buff to Ronin the Accuser, which is fantastic. And then you can play Sentinel on its own right as well. Just get a bunch of Sentinels to your hand, and there's Sentinels everywhere. That's pretty funny. And then Maximus as well. Like, normally you don't want people to draw those cards. If you're clogging up their hand with Master Mold, then you play Maximus. They probably won't be able to actually benefit from the negative effect from Maximus. So I thought it was just pretty nasty. Look at this deck above me, guys. Look at this deck. This is the Darkhawk Sabu deck. Already one of the best, but also one of the most triggering because a lot of people don't have these cards, and you know, it's not very accessible. It's very powerful. I don't even know the true power level of this deck. I've hardly even seen Darkhawk myself, like, just because of the amount of people that don't have this card. But regardless, I feel like Master Mold fits in it so well because you clog your opponent's hand. They might not be able to draw, leaving cards in the deck. And then they're just putting out 2/3s, which you don't really care about. And then you can tech in Ronin in there just to get another buffing card. Oh my gosh, I feel like this would be so nasty, this deck list with Master Mold. It's crazy. So I'm giving him 4 stars. I really think it's a good card. It could backfire, right? You are actually giving your opponent value. You're only playing 2 power, and then you're giving your opponent an option to fill out their curve if they don't have a way of doing so already. If they're playing a flood deck, well, they're probably, you know, at least playing all those other cards, and the Sentinels might not really matter in their hand that much. So that is totally fair and viable, but I just have a feeling that the deck this will be running like Iceman and Scorpion. Like, you just make it so nasty. They don't want to play those Sentinels, and they're just chilling in their hand. Very frequently, I find in a lot of decks, you end up with a full hand size just for maybe not playing a lot of cards. Maybe it's a slower ramp deck, anything like that. So I feel like Master Mold is going to be pretty good. Let me know what you guys think about these 2 cards in the comments below, but I got a few other I want to touch on very quickly. All right, so I got these 3. I'm just talking about them real quick because they have their silhouette in Marvel Snap now, so you can go check them out. I think Nimrod was already there, but I want to talk about him because he seems to be the March Season Pass card. We will see. That is yet to be confirmed, but sometimes early on in the previous month, we get a little bit of news about the upcoming month afterwards, right? We don't even know fully what is happening in February yet, but these cards seem to be tied into March. So you got Kitty Pryde there, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and Nimrod. My opinions on these cards have changed a little bit. Everyone told me about Kitty Pryde. I totally blew it. I thought that, you know, it would be free when you pull it back to the hand, but of course not. It's always going to cost 1, so you're only getting that 1 power for every time you play it. I think there's still a lot of great synergies there, but I mean, really, by the time you get this to 6 power, you've probably spent 4 or 5 energy, whatever the math is. So I don't know if it's all that valuable. You can dodge some things. Maybe you want to reallocate that power. It's a flexible option, but it kind of falls in line with almost like Nightcrawler or something like that. But it has, you know, collector buffs and stuff like that. So it could be pretty cool. I think it's going to be a pretty fun card, pretty interesting card, and I'm here for it. Now, a lot of people are speculating that you can't actually you pull this back and play it on the same turn. I don't know how I feel about that just yet, but I still believe that you can do it in the same turn. I don't see why not. It's like moving a card and playing a card. Like, I think you just pull it back and then that triggers and now it's back in your hand. You could undo all the actions if you didn't want to do that, just similar to playing cards and moving them around. And then you just play it at a new location every turn. And that's just like a thing you can do with Kitty Pryde. I feel like that's how it's going to work, but of course nobody really knows until we see it in action because that's fairly new to Marvel Snap. Pulling cards specifically back to your hand without triggering it with like Beast or an on reveal during the turn, right? And then Negasonic Teenage Warhead, amazing card. I'm only giving this not 5 stars because I don't know how good it will be in the destroy package. Obviously it's going to work decently, but what I'm getting at is that it might be a little bit too slow. 3 costs to destroy 2 things if you're trying to destroy the things, like if you want to play Deadpool there next turn or something along those lines. And then it's also an easy read if your opponent is holding on to armor or Professor X or something like that, just to deny the destroy. So I feel like maybe it's a little too easy to read. Maybe it gets a little clunky, maybe it's a little too slow, but for the most part, such value. You play this in a control style, right? And it's like locking in a location. If they don't have armor or Professor X, they can't play something there reliably. And then they gotta hope they like have a rock from Subterranea or something that they could just throw out there and get this destroyed and just move on. So it's gonna be a good card. That's why I'm giving it 4 stars, but just there might be a few things holding this back from being 5. And then Nimrod, I kind of changed my opinion a little bit. I still think it's going to be a bit of a meme deck or not as consistent destroy deck. Maybe there's going to be some crazy combos. People did tell me about Arnim Zola does work, so that's actually pretty awesome to see that in action. But I don't know how I feel about it just yet. It just seems a little bit too tricky to pull off and not enough power value. You destroy this once, you get 2 copies, you're at 10 power, and then you want to keep doing that maybe, but then it's turn 5, turn 6. It just might not work out every time. So that's why I'm only giving them 3 for now, but might change in the future. Okay, so we had all these datamines, right? And we have a little sneak preview to the next season, but we also got information on this upcoming February bundle schedule. So we can check out some of the bundles that are coming up soon. Let's check it out. All right, now let's talk about the bundles really quickly. These are the ones that are going to be coming up in February, and there's some that I think are much more valuable than others. I'm on marvelsnapzone.com right now, and they also have a really great chart that's very helpful for evaluating whether you should save for a certain bundle or not. But we're just going to gloss over them and look at the art. So we have the start date for this one for Positively Charged is February 7th, and it ends on February 28th. It's going to cost you 8,000 gold. Dude, that's expensive. 8,000 gold is not a joke. I only have like a 3,000 saved up from January. Like, that is tough. I might have bought a variant or 2 though. And then also you get 6,000 credits, 3,000 collector's tokens, a bunch of boosters, a title, variant, avatar. It's the Luca Claretti, I believe that's how you pronounce the name, variant. So good. Look at the Mr. Negative right there. But my goodness, 8,000 gold for all of this. I don't know if I can recommend that. Like, most players don't have 8,000 gold banked up. So that means you're coughing up a lot of money to get the gold, to get all this stuff. And then it's a bit of a cycle because you're just going to get tokens and credits, credits might not even net you all that much. And the tokens gets you half a Series 5 card. Jeez, I don't know. I'm going to say pass on this one. If you have the available gold and you really love this variant, then maybe it's worth it and it's for you, but it's a pass for me. Okay, then we have Westview Story. So that's going to start on Valentine's Day, February 14th till February 21st. It's going to cost you 2,000 gold, much more reasonable. You're going to get a title, variant, avatar, and these are the 2 variants. So this is purely cosmetic. I appreciate these more than the ones that just straight up give currencies, because if you like the art, then you spend on it. If you don't, you just pass and move on. It's much easier decision to make, in my opinion. So, like, if you really like these art germ variants, which I love, then pop it, buy it, go for it. But for me, I'm going to pass because I have like a Scarlet Witch that I like, and I don't know if I really want the Vision, and then it's easy pass. I can save my 2,000 gold and move on to something else, right? Like possibly Steamy Hell's Kitchen here. February 14th to 21st, again, a Valentine's bundle. 2,000 gold, very affordable, at least in the bundle area, okay? And then what you're getting is a variant, avatar, but it's these 2, it's Daredevil and Elektra. Now, I already have variants that I love of both of these, so it might end up being a pass. But my goodness, look at that Daredevil, dude. Oh my gosh, that is one of the sickest variants in the game. Like, imagine that frame breaker, imagine that inkified. Oh my gosh, the possibilities. This looks so good. I love that variant so much. And the Electro one looks so good too, but I'm just obsessed with the Daredevil. The paint style looks incredible. So maybe I'll get this, but again, cosmetic, so it's easy to pass. The next one is the one I want to talk about. So it's Birth Pool, February 22nd to March 3rd. It's going to cost you 3,200 gold, which might seem like a big chunk of change. I'm not going to knock it off like it isn't, but it's more in the affordable realm of bundles, okay? And the value is pretty legit. Okay, so 3,200 credits, 1,500 collector's tokens, 291 Deadpool boosters, which is just insane. That's so many Deadpool boosters. Oh my goodness gracious. And then title, variant, avatar. This is the variant. Okay, honestly, I don't know if I adore this variant, but it's hilarious. I'm here for it. It looks funny. There's some other really fire Deadpool variants that I'd probably go for over this, but this one's pretty awesome. But the value is pretty good here, guys. You're getting 3,200 credits, right? And a bunch of tokens, 1,500 tokens. I feel like that adds up to being worth 3,200 gold, or at least better than just spending gold to get credits and then using those credits to hopefully get tokens. Instead, you can just do it this route. I think it's going to be worth it. So if there was a bundle I was going to recommend saving gold up for, it's going to be Birth Pool. Which I thought was just a pretty awesome name. So that's your February bundles. Let me know what you guys think about the datamine cards, these bundles. I'd love to hear which ones you plan on getting. Are you going to pop on the Deadpool variant here, or maybe the Daredevil one, you know, or that Vision with or Mr. Negative? There's all kinds of cool ones. All the great art. They also just dropped a bunch of crazy variants. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. It's so good. All right, we're going to be streaming some battle mode tonight, so I cannot wait. I got to go eat. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.